I'm so close. Turned on, mine.
Close mine out. It didn't help.
Austin looks like he's got internet.
Down too.
Yeah.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Emmons,
Yes.
Davis,
Here.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections or anything to the agenda for this evening? If not, I'd hear, Mr. Crane?
Mayor, I would just note that we won't need a closed session tonight.
All right. All right, nothing else. I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? If anyone has business in front of the council this evening, please fill out the cards that are in the back to register and give them to the clerk when you get ready to address council, and you'll have a maximum of 4 minutes as a limit of time. Okay, we'll move on to communication requests, which is number 1, communication from Michael Bogalski.
Yes,
Mr. Crane.
we received a letter from Michael from MADC talking about some interactions he's had with clients coming to town and viewing our town, and how the trash service he thinks helped out with the cart containers, cleaning up the town in certain areas that he used to have
Hey, Brian, I don't
issues
think
with.
your microphone's on.
It's not on?
Maybe you're just not speaking into it.
Yes, so we received a letter from Michael Bogalski from MADC, who was just commenting on how his clients and people looking to invest in our community have noticed in certain areas where we had issues with trash and debris, how the cart system has cleaned up over the last few years, quite a bit of that trash that used to get comments in town. So he just wanted to send a letter recognizing that and thanking the council for their action.
All right. Anyone? Comments, anyone?
Very good to hear.
All right. Thank you. So we're at the public hearing or receipt of bids, and we have a public hearing for this evening on, I don't know because I can't see my agenda or my computer, but at this point we will open the public hearing in regards to, and I'll let Mr. Thompson fill in the blank.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's a public hearing with regard to the property tax rates proposed to be set by the city of Moberly.
All right. So the hearing is open. Is there anyone that wishes to comment or for or against or anything about the set of the tax rate for next year? If you don't know now, then don't.
It's up there.
Mr. Crane, anything you want to comment about the tax rate? Are you listening to me? Are you here to talk about the? Are you here to talk about the setting the tax rate? We're not in a Q&A session here. If you have something, you can give it to the clerk. You can come forward. You got 4 minutes. Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Crane.
Mayor, I would mention that this annual property tax levy is set by the State Tax Commission and establishes that rate through an annual process, and we're not allowed to raise it over the assessed levy.
Right. So we aren't raising it this year, are we?
We would not be raising it. They adjust the rate to be consistent with the previous year.
Right. Okay. So that's all right. Anyone else here to speak about the tax hearing? All right. Hearing none, then we will close the hearing for the taxes and move on to number 3, an ordinance. And who has that particular ordinance?
Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance approving a First Amendment to Development Agreement and providing further authority.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance approving a First Amendment to Development Agreement and providing further authority.
All right, you've heard the first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none. Second reading.
An ordinance approving a First Amendment to Development Agreement and providing further authority.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
It's been motioned and seconded by Mr. Kimmons. All those in, or roll call, please. Yes?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. Number 4, an ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance accepting a proposal financing for the cost of certain improvements within the downtown Moberly Public Facilities Neighborhood Improvement District and providing further authority.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance accepting a proposal financing for the cost of certain improvements within the downtown Moberly Public Facilities Neighborhood Improvement District and providing further authority.
All right, any discussion about the financing of the NID district? All right, hearing none. Second reading.
An ordinance accepting a proposal financing for the cost of certain improvements within the downtown Moberly Public Facilities Neighborhood Improvement District and providing further authority.
All right, you've heard the second reading. Any further discussion of the ordinance? Mr. Crane, I'm sure it says in there, but what's the time sequence of when this financing is going to be done and then that project starting?
Like construction phase?
Yeah.
So right now, they've given us a few weeks to see how this grant project comes back, to see if we're going to be using those towards the grant funding for some of the Plumrose project. But we've got about probably 90-day authorization period, and then it's going to take, the engineering's going to take a little while, so we probably won't see construction until next spring,
Okay.
based on this time schedule.
All right, Mr. Brubaker.
Couple of questions, Brian. On the proposed interest rate, 3.05, is that a fixed rate for the whole term?
Yes.
Okay, and then I was just curious if we reached out to any other bank here in town, and was this the only one that responded, or?
This is the only respondent.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone else? Okay, so are we've had the second reading. I need the roll call, please.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Jeffrey,
Yes. Motion carries. Ordinance is approved. Number 5, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution authorizing and accepting change order number 1 to the contract with Willis Brothers, Inc. for the North Buchanan Sewer Extensions, and I ask that it be read once for passage.
All right, you heard the motion for the reading. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution authorizing and accepting change order number 1 to the contract with Willis Brothers, Inc. for the North Buchanan Sewer Extension.
All right, you've heard the reading. Any further discussion? I assume Mr. Sanders is on the electronic connection. Does he have any comments? Or would it be
This would be
Ms.
Mary.
Calcett?
Nice to see a decrease on this
Yes.
instead of an increase.
I think we need to get a plaque made.
First time.
So I don't hear anything else from any of those folks. Okay, well, I guess that's going to be it. Any other comments, Mr. Crane?
No, this project's been on the books for quite a long time. I think they're finishing up and having just a little reduction in quantities.
All right. So, without any discussion, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second it.
And motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Number 6, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution accepting the bid of J.T. Holman Construction LLC and authorizing contracting for the installation of sidewalks from Waterworks to Parkwood Streets. I ask for it to be read once for consideration.
All right, thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution accepting the bid of J.T. Holman Construction LLC and authorizing contracting for the installation of sidewalks from Waterworks to Parkwood streets.
All right, you've heard the reading. Is there further discussion about the resolution?
Had one question.
Mr. Brubaker?
Is there a time limit on this?
Mr. Crane?
Yes.
I'd have to ask.
I believe there
I
is.
didn't see one.
I didn't
Can you
catch
hear
what
me?
was in there.
I didn't see it.
Okay. That's my understanding they're going to get right on this and
Well,
try to finish
that's-
it up pretty quick.
there is a time, well, I don't know of a specific time limit, but I would say the reason they were able to give us this rate is because they're already mobilized in that area. So
Right.
they plan on moving right over to it.
Right. That's why it was so much cheaper than
Yeah.
normal rates. Okay.
Mr. Sanders, is he on or?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm on. Can you hear me?
Okay, well, I'm sorry. You need to come forward. If you need to address council, give him your card. Please come forward.
Over here. Ma'am.
Card to the,
City clerk.
okay, hang on. Oh, we don't have a mic. Where's the mic? Hang on just a second, please. That way everybody can hear you.
Yes, I'm talking. I have the mic. I'm
Okay, please state your name and address.
Debbie Kitchen, 300 Terrell Road.
Okay, proceed.
My question is to this sidewalk project, is it going to be this year that it's going to be done?
I think, yes.
Okay, because it's like, well, if it's not going to be done, why waste the time? Make plans for it next year.
Well, I think there's a good answer to that, Mr. Crane. They're not going to be here next year.
For the enjoyment of people enjoying it this year.
It's going to be done right away. There's Mr. Sanders. Okay, I think you can clarify that answer. Why don't we, is it going to be done soon? And anyway, that's the main question.
There's 2 utility cuts that Ameren had to move some power guide wires, and they put a fiber optics box up in there. Those are the 2 pieces that are left remaining. And then the striping crew, I think, was there today to get that measured out, to get that on. So they should have it usable completely through there in the next week or so. And then the other piece we talked about, they want to get right to it. So it should be completed in 30 days.
And I've understood, because I asked a question about this project, I think at the last meeting, there was a time frame on when they needed to get the original project done, but this is an addition, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Everybody, anyone else, questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, are they, they're over the time limit on the original project, aren't they?
Their substantial completion was a time limit, and then there was another time date for final completion. So probably, with the moisture, we let the concrete cure out, and then because I was asking today about getting the curbs backfilled and stuff, and also around the other concrete. So the concrete time frame is, they're a little bit, couple days over on that, and for substantial completion. And then the backfilling of the curbs will probably wait about another 7 days before they start getting there, because they'll have machines over the curb, and we don't want to put them over the green concrete, breaking those up until backfilling those. So probably a little bit of delay. They were doing some cleanup in the bottoms, and they're going to continue starting backfilling on there, but probably about 7 days before you see them doing a lot of heavy work on backfilling all the areas they've completed.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, so that resolution is up, and there is no more discussion. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Number 7, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $394,808.93.
All right, you've heard the motion for the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
Resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $394,808.93.
All right, you've heard the reading. I hereby certify that there is sufficient money standing to the credit of the city of Moberly, Missouri, unappropriated in the several funds covered by this resolution to meet the requirements of this resolution. Submitted, Gregory L. Hodge, City Treasurer. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second.
Second?
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution passes. Okay, moving on to official reports. We don't have any of those, do we, Mr. Crane?
No, Mayor.
All right. Anything else to come in front of the council for the regular city council meeting? Sir?
Yep.
This would be the time. Yes, sir. Hand that to her. Please come to the front podium. Let us know your name and address.
Brian?
Yes, my name's Aubrey Brockman. I live at 1841 Leah Lane.
Okay.
Have for, what, 20 years? This man here has made a mess of it, right there, that man right there. You don't get mowed, grass.
Hold on. You're out of order. Go ahead.
We ain't gonna be out of order. We're gonna get the news company up here, because our whole neighborhood is sick of the shit. Sick of it.
You're going to have to refrain from that also. You're addressing the council, not them. So tell us what you would like and what you're here
We don't
for.
have to refrain for nothing.
You're what?
We'll bring the news company up here, we won't have to refrain for nothing. We got our rights.
well,
We
you-
pay you to do the job.
You're not paying me
I'm doing
anything.
his job.
This is
He's
not a
wasting money.
paying job, and this is not a debate. What would you like us to do? What is your comment
He used
about?
to live in my house. This man right here did.
Okay.
In '06, he raised the road 2.5 feet. When it floods, it runs in my home. It has since. I've been arguing. Finally, this man never talks to me. Oh, you go talk to my insurance company. The insurance lady says, yep, I agree. The whole road's out. Get a letter. They're not gonna, oh, that's just, what they say, I don't know, but we ain't responsible for it. But it runs in my home. And I got video of it for years.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Don't call me a liar. All right? All right? I go get my whole damn neighborhood. They
Okay.
all get flooded too.
I hear your point. What is it you want us to do?
I want $111,000. That's cheap. Spec house, 220.
That's this. We're not here to talk to the neighbors.
You know, I'm honest man.
And I'm telling you, Mr. Brockman, address the council and leave it at that right now, okay?
Okay, all right.
You heard address the
We're
council.
gonna get the news.
address the council.
I'm tired of it. That's fine. This man here has destroyed my home. I'm talking to you about it. You're a mayor, right?
I do, but the manager runs the city of Moberly.
You got a flunky, buddy.
Okay, I think you're done. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Please come forward, state your name. Okay,
I live at 300 Terrell Road. My name is Debbie Kitchen. And last summer, Darren Montler tore down the Free Will Baptist Church.
hang on just a second until we get the noise out of the room here. All right, go right ahead.
And it is at 307 Terrell Road is the address of the church.
Okay,
They took the basement out of the church and left the hole. The hole has been there ever since last year.
okay,
I have contacted people and I keep getting passed around. He is good buddies with the owner, like there's a buddy system going on or something where nothing will be done. The grass, you have to call and bitch and bitch and bitch to get the grass even cut.
so what you want is the whole filled in, is what
I
you're
want
saying?
the hole filled in, I want the grass cut without me having to go off and
Okay,
be mean to people.
okay, and it's on whose property?
It's Darren Montler's property.
He still owns it?
I assume he does, because the
Okay.
buddy system, I think, is what's going on.
Okay.
And that's something else that you all need to address. You
Well-
need to address where, just because you're friends, if I'm in his position or your position and something's not right and my son's doing it, it would be fixed. So, I don't know. It's just, I'm not getting nothing done.
Okay, well,
And
I don't know
keep getting
either.
Passed around.
Okay. All right, all we can do is ask questions, and I don't have an answer for you this evening, but thanks for bringing it to our
Where
attention.
do I need to go now? Do I need to go ahead and call Channel 8 News to see if they'll come down?
Well, I mean,
Because
I can't tell you what to do.
That's how big this hole is.
You live right across the road from this?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
That's not including the mosquitoes that's gonna be coming out. Oh, my God.
okay. So this is a code enforcement issue.
Well, I would think if I had a big hole like that in my property, somebody's gonna bitch about it not being filled in.
When was the last time you talked to anybody from the city?
Today, I talked to Mr. Rick Ridgway, and he is a very nice guy. He's
Okay.
the only one that has not passed me on.
What did he recommend that you
He
do?
said that they had been issued citation after citation, and he would see what he could get done this week.
Well, you realize now the way the legislature has changed the law is that you can't arrest anybody for violation of citation. You can't grass
Okay,
anything.
then tell me this. What if you got this officer, what if you got this officer chasing after somebody and they fall in this deep hole? No.
Well, that's a different
You all need to
scenario.
start checking things out about how everything's being run.
That we check it out. It's just the law has changed to where we're almost handicapped to enforce code enforcement because the courts will not uphold anything. So, Mr. Sanders, you would want to comment? I wish it was that easy.
Well, I've just never heard tell that you have this huge hole. And it's
You
probably
can,
five,
you can
4 or
have
5
grass.
feet.
We've got people with stuff sitting around on their curbs, and we can't do what we used to be able to do, bring them to municipal court. So it's not like it used to be.
Well, then you need to change the court system, and do something a little bit different.
You're right. So your legislator, you need to tell your legislator about it. Mr. Sanders,
As she said, she was passed to Rick Ridgway, who's the code enforcement officer dealing with that area, and so Rick's been dealing with it, and he's been
Yes,
meeting with it.
but that's
hang
not
on.
who I talked to at first.
Oh, Mr.
So
Sanders.
anyhow, I had a meet with them, and they've been talking to the owner. I think that maybe Ryan Sutherland is in process or has acquired that property, but he's given them a time frame, and we've, as she mentioned, had issued several citation or notifications on that to try to get something done with it. And we've given him a deadline. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but he's got a deadline of what time we're going to do an administrative abatement and bring in materials and fill it in and level it off and grade it and seed it if he doesn't get that completed. So
And then we'll add it, and then we'll add that to the lien that we have on his property, correct?
pardon?
We will
Yes.
add that cost. That's the only recourse we have now. We can't bring people in front of municipal court or the circuit or the associate circuit. They will not enforce any of those things.
Okay, then what about the grass being cut every 2 weeks?
Same thing. Any of those code enforcement things, you can't do the same thing to people that you used to be able to do, to enforce
So
them.
if I let the grass grow up, and you're telling me you're not gonna issue me a citation and come out and cut it?
We
and
absolutely
charge
will.
me?
We absolutely will, but we can't bring you to municipal court and have you arrested like they used to. Am I right?
Correct. I mean, and we've just been, I've had our own, we do our own crews, so I've got one guy basically to do it. That's my seasonal help. It's all been out in the cemetery trying to keep up out there. So I'm kind of short-staffed on my seasonal help, so we're running behind on getting lots mowed. And the one she's referring to, it has to be brush hogged. It's not like
Well,
grass.
no. Sorry to interrupt you, but.
Hold it. I control who speaks and when.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so have a last comment, and then we're going to wrap this up.
Well, anybody, how often do you all cut your grass? Yeah, you definitely cut it at least once every 2 weeks. That's not asking very much for them to cut that grass like that,
It's not.
instead of
not.
letting it get up.
Okay, well, he just gave you an answer that they've given him a deadline, so I would say wait till that deadline, and then you can see what happens after that.
Also, I mentioned on the mowing, as you know, we can't just go out and mow it immediately. We have to go through a process.
I know.
Because of that, where we have to wait a certain amount of time once it gets high, and it takes a while. It's not quick like we used to be able to do it.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Davis.
could I ask what the deadline is? Do you know,
I don't
Tom?
know off the top of my head. I can get that. I'll give you all a response to the whole council, what Rick has done with that on filling that in.
Yeah, we'd like to know.
I will do that.
Okay. Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
Tom Kitchen. I had a problem, you guys put pavement in down the road on Terrell Road.
A problem?
Tom knows about it. And the housing development, Don Mutter.
Uh-huh.
Well, we've been working back and forth, still ain't got the ditch fixed. It's washing out, got a foot deep ditch. That's supposed to be rock. That was our agreement. I'm not getting nowhere with him. My fence still isn't fixed, and it's a mess out there, and all it's doing is eroding out of my pasture, my cropland, right off in the ditch. We talked several times, haven't we?
We have.
We haven't got nothing done.
Is the ditch you're referring to in the right-of-way or on your property?
No, it's
On our right-of-way, correct.
there wasn't gonna rock that, so they did wash my field out, so we used to have to go out there and bed it, hydro seed it. That hasn't been done.
We're going to put, I said we were going to put the mesh on there.
After it washes out my field, and then I have to fix all that.
I'll have to show you some pictures of this
Yeah,
if you're interested.
I got pictures.
Yeah, so, but we are, going to work on it. There's a hedge post. And
Who actually is going to do it, Mr. Mutter or the city of Moberly?
City of Moberly's.
This is in the right of way, and technically, this was a part 3 partnership between the city of Moberly, Don Mutter, and also the road district. So what he's referring to in the road ditch was what the road district was supposed to complete. And they have basically done what they said they have done to the extent they're going to do, but there is still some erosional issues where I've sent crews back and had them grade that up and put like the mat down and the mesh to try to get it seated. And there's some additional areas in there that we need to go in and do some more repairs to. It's just, I've been really short-staffed. It's not a huge amount of runoff, and I will get it addressed. And when they also, we do have one more post down there that we'd tied to his original existing post, a corner post, and he didn't like that one, so we're gonna get a hedge post in there to try to make it happy. But I mean, we did replace all the fence that we tore out, so.
So do we have a time frame? What do you think?
Hold on. Go ahead, Mr. Kaiser.
I
all right.
apologize, but do we have a time frame when you think that part will be done for this gentleman?
I don't off the top of my head, but I mean, I can try to get it done the next 30 days.
Can you give us 30 days to? I understand, but this is the first time it's come to us. I'm asking is, can we try 30 days? And
Have you talked at all, or should he talk at all with the road district too?
Yeah. They're at the end of what they want to do on that.
Mr. Davis?
Mr. Kitchen, is it going to hinder you in your planning of crops or anything this year?
No, but I have a fence right there, and it's just washing ruts right down that, right into the ditch. So
Okay.
it's moving right back up into my cropland.
Yeah, I just wondered if,
You got a brand new fence there, you don't wanna,
I got you.
Yeah.
I understand. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't an urgency to this, that you. needed
Well,
to
I guess
plan.
we'll go that amount of time, and if it's not, then come back.
and then I got another deal.
Okay, we're about 2 minutes in, so you got a little time.
That hole that she's talking about across the street.
Yeah.
They tore a church down, okay?
Right.
It's the basement of that church. Okay, now construction, anytime you leave an open hole like that, that fills up with water, you're supposed to fence it off. Now, how is that legal?
I don't know.
It's not. You can't just tear a building down and leave the basement.
I think my point that I'm trying to say is that from some point about, when was Ferguson? A couple of years ago, 3, the state legislature changed the whole approach to how you can enforce code. And we don't have the same tools in the courts in order to enforce it. So we wait, and then we do the work, and then we put an administrative lien on it. But we don't have the same way of dragging people into court to get enforcement of some of these things. So even if we had written them up every week for the last year, it's just, that's where it is.
If that was me, though, you guys would.
Couldn't do it to you either. Couldn't do it.
Got fined properly.
Well, I'm just telling you.
I gotta go over there and weed eat and spray the corner because it looks
Yeah.
like crap.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we're going to get it squared away.
It don't seem like it, though.
Well, if you're going to be back in 30 days, we can talk about that too.
Yeah, 'cause I guess the next step is I'll just get a lawyer and see what.
I mean,
like I said, let's see what happens in 30 days.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days, and if not,
Okay.
I'll come back. And the neighborhood will come in. with
That's
me,
fine.
'cause there's a lot of people down that whole street that is not very happy with what the city did.
all right. Thanks for coming. Anyone else? No one? Okay, so if there's not anything else coming in front of the council, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson?
Park Board.
I thought that's in the, okay, I'm sorry. So, appointment to the Park and Rec Board. Mr. Crane?
Yes, Mayor, we've got 3 openings right now for the Park Board. Two members requested to be reappointed, Kay Harris and Lindsey Hunt, and then we have 2 on file, Barry Richardson and Chris Van Houten. Council recommended moving forward with Kay Harris, Lindsey Hunt, and Barry Richardson for a new appointment.
All right, is there a motion to that effect?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. They're appointed. So move on to consideration for approval of renewal of liquor applications.
Okay, we have 10 of those. That's Bean, both break times, both Casey stores, Coat Street, Corner Grill, both Dollar General stores issue, and the Wabash, and they all have the necessary signatures.
All right. Questions of the clerk? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now, that's it. Sorry, Mr. Thompson, I missed that. I would entertain a motion to adjourn to work session.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned from City Council, and we will open the work session and move to that agenda. First on the agenda, application for Airport Advisory Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 requests right now for reappointments. One's for Colin Malacher and Bill Stewart. Those openings are this month, and there's no other applications on file.
My preference is to move Mr. Stewart forward. Would one like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Stewart will be appointed.
We're just moving it forward.
Yes, move it forward to the next meeting. All right, we will move on to Planning and Zoning Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 3 openings coming up. 2 of the 3 current members wish to be reappointed, Connie Asbury and Bob Riley. Barb Bogie did contact us and say she would rather not serve again, and we have 1 application on file, Lorna Miles.
All right. So someone would make a motion for, you need 3 openings for 3 appointees to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Does anyone want to move that, anyone opposed to moving it forward?
Are we still taking applications for this, or are we just moving it forward with the 1 application we have?
Well, we would be moving forward to approval in the next meeting, so we would not.
So we would not be taking, we would be limiting the application just to the 1.
Yeah, we're moving these forward for approval, yes.
Applications are always open, but this action is forward for the next meeting.
Okay, gotcha.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, we'll move those forward for the next meeting. Move on to Depot Park restroom.
So you can see from the list, we have a few prefab options. First, let me preface this with, we reached out for bids, I believe it was in the February and early March timeframe. Received no proposals, so we began looking at other options, both prefab and then an option from L&J Development. So you see those listed. I want to emphasize these are not apples to apples. The prefab restrooms do not include HVAC, which would allow it to be a year-round restroom and have more utility, not just to our department, but downtown. They also don't include the utility connection. So there's about a 15 to 20,000 total swing between those two. So L&J's proposal includes everything but the electrical, a plaque for Rotary, and the bonds. I don't believe I'm missing anything. There's those three components, which will get it up to right in the neighborhood of 79 to 80,000 most likely. But apples to apples, when all said and done, the prefab restroom, the cheapest option, 58. When you figure in the utility connections, as well as HVAC, they're in the same. It's actually the same ballpark as L&J's proposal. I would emphasize too, L&J's proposal would be matching the clock tower, so it looks planned. Oftentimes, over decades, things tend to look unplanned when they are done layer on top of layer with no cohesion. This would make it look planned and fit the park and the existing amenities.
Okay, so has the park board looked at this and come up with a recommendation?
The staff has. It's coming up at the next park board meeting.
Okay.
The staff recommendation is to go with will be to go with the L&J
Okay.
proposal. We'll get you the additional costs related to the rotary emblem and the electrical at the next meeting.
Okay, questions of Mr. Bach? All right. Anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right. Hearing none, we'll move that forward to the next regular meeting. And last on the agenda is lease agreements.
Yes, Mayor, as part of our water meter replacement program, I don't think Mary's having internet issues tonight, so she probably can't get through with communication right now, but I saw she was on Teams, so I'll handle this. We've got 6, after ESP, our consultant came in and did an analysis of where those towers need to be placed, the antennas that read back through the meters back into our building here so we can do meter reading. We needed 6 different locations, our 3 water towers, and then there's also 3 additional locations. One's on Orton Lane, one at the high school, and one at the community college. We've been in contact with all 3 of those organizations, and before you tonight for review is the lease agreement prepared by the city for those leases that we need where the antennas will go on other property that the city doesn't own.
Okay. I know I don't have a copy of it in front of me, so you're wanting us to look at that before the next meeting, or what action do we need to take on
We
this?
just need to move it forward and review it, and I think we've had preliminary discussion with each entity, and they seemed favorable to them.
We've sent the proposed leases to the 3 entities we're dealing with for comment, so we're waiting for their comments at this point.
Okay. Questions, anyone? Anyone opposed to move?
Information purposes.
Yes. Anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, hearing none, we'll move it forward. Anyone here to speak on any issue of the work session? All right, hearing none, is there a motion for approval, or a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. We are adjourned.